for Texas. And both of these teams have 20 wins plus, 25 plus wins on the season. First pitch gets us underway as Harper fouls it off. Officially getting started at 6:06 Central Time here in Denton, Texas. Sold out crowd. It was sold out from the first week of April. First week of the month. They already knew this one was going to be a sold out crowd, and it's certainly living up to the expectation. Second one from Childers. Ranges up high. The other part for Childers' game with the spin rate, it does provide a deceiving movement on the fastball and the rise ball. She will work up in the zone against the Texas A&M team that really takes advantage of those up in the zone pitches.
That speed and velocity explains Childers' 94 strikeouts on the season. She's walked only 55 batters. Her ERA is 3.8.
She's up at the count early here. 1-2. Speaking of up in the count, that one up and over the head of both Harper and Christensen behind the dish. Our three umpires today, Michael Parker is behind the plate with Jonathan DeWurst over at first. And then Troy Kirkendall is at third. Three-man crew this evening. Harper spoils it away to stay alive. North Texas as a team with a 3.3 ERA from a rotation standpoint, opposing batters hitting .245 against. There's 200 plus strikeouts as a rotation, and really Childers is a big piece of that. That one comes inside, almost hit Harper. The count full.
Harper's only struck out 9 times on the season in 87 at-bats. Here's another look at Childers' pitch. A high inside pitch, nearly made contact with Harper. A lot of movement on the ball.
Payoff here from Childers. And it does miss inside. Not a bad miss from Childers, but it's ball 4 to begin the outing. Left Nicholson, who made some great plays, including a Sports Center top 10 dive out in center this past weekend. She'll be back in center field today. First opportunity for Kramer Echte today. One of 3 straight Aggies at the top of the order that hit above 300. Quick conversation from Kaylee Christensen behind the plate, who completes the battery with Childers. This is what Coach DeLong talked about. When Childers has the ability to control, she's tough to hit, but it's just a big in or with, or if that could possibly happen.
Childers wants it. She's a competitor. She throws hard. She wants to strike people out. She puts a lot of pressure on herself. But in the circle, you just have to compete. You can't get too caught up on every single pitch. It's still a team sport, even though it's natural to feel the weight of the world, the weight of the team on your shoulders in the circle. But it's much bigger than that. So Childers just needs to hone in on the strike zone, relax, and keep battling, because she really had a good at-bat, a good pitching outing against Harper. She threw strikes, and she made it tough on Harper.
And Harper ultimately won the battle late, but it looked good early. This one over the backstop again, and you could see the frustration here from Childers, and now Rodney DeLong wants to have a conversation. Couple straight where it just goes over the head of Christensen behind the dish, and Rodney DeLong.
Being a college pitcher or a college athlete in general is too tough to live that way. So Childers just needs to have fun in the circle and know that she has what it takes, and it's just a matter of playing free.
This one does miss outside for ball 4. Back-to-back walks to begin. And the Aggies have runners at first and third with nobody out.
The center fielder, number 77, Jasmine Hill.
So here's Jasmine Hill after Echte walks. Julia Cottrell on deck. Some powerful bats in the order. Hill, Cottrell, Cannon, Enright, and Wiggins, the next 5 hitters have at least 7 homers to their total, as now Eshte takes off and she'll swipe second.
That's Eshta's 10th stolen base on the season. She's 10 for 12 against some of the best catchers in the country.
Two in scoring position as Christensen holds on to this one, snags it over her head. You can anticipate if Childers can't make it out of the inning, possibly walks a third straight hitter here. Maybe it prompts an early switch, and Skylar Savage would most likely be the first out of the pen for North Texas. This one does work inside and gets a cheer from the Mean Green faithful to get a strike across. Sometimes that's important for the mindset of these young pitchers.
No doubt. A good strike will get you back on track mentally and then allow you to keep throwing strikes.
This one does drop low, not a bad miss either. Hill on the season hitting .378 in her 42 games started. One of just 2 players on the roster to start in all 42 games for Texas A&M. And she'll watch this one drop low. 3 straight walks to load the bases here in the opening inning for Texas A&M. And now Julia Cottrell will step in with an opportunity in a dangerous bat that could take advantage. Cottrell out of Wichita, Kansas, and the transfer from Oklahoma State. First pitch just misses inside. Cottrell did play here at Lovelace Stadium in the past with Oklahoma State before making the transfer and taking her talents to College Station, where she has been tremendous. Checks her swing here. Ball was up high. The appeal, no go, says third base umpire Troy Kirkendall. Three balls and no strikes. Nowhere to put her either. Tough situation in the early going for Mackenzie Childers. 3-0 inside, ball 4. It's 4 straight walks to put a run on the board. And that is how Texas A&M will strike first. And that may be it for Mackenzie Childers. Give credit to Ronnie DeLong. He is a player's coach, and we've talked
against the Aggies.
Yeah, spun her 3rd complete game shutout of the season yesterday with the win against Texas A&M Commerce, and now she is on in relief with the bases loaded, nobody out. And this one goes up and over the backstop. No chance for Aggie runners to advance. Nicely corralled by Kaylee Christensen behind the plate, and apparently wild pitches run in the Mean Green rotation at the moment. Both Childers and Savage struggling in the early going as this one's offered up by Trinity Cannon. Fouled away for strike 1.
Those high pitches are based on your release time, the point in your pitch at which you release the ball. It's often an indicator of nerves, but one that we know they can get in check.
You think about some of the best starts in program history, at least recent program history, and Skylar Savage is right there at the top. Had a win last year against Oklahoma State, a top 10 opponent at the time. 2-1 here, fouled off. And you talk about what she did in the Stillwater Regional back in May of 2022. Had a complete game shutout against Nebraska, helping secure the first postseason win in NCAA regional action for North Texas. Part of the all-freshman team that season, and then continued that success last year with a sub-4 ERA. 2-2. Cannon fouls it off. right-handed junior, 6'2", out of Van, Texas, Van High School product.
UNT relies heavily on Skylar Savage, Mackenzie Childers, and Mackenzie Wagner. So when you have three main pitchers and your one's already been pulled out of the game, and the other one you need to start for you this coming weekend in that American Conference Series, it's important to keep some arms fresh. So with a small pitching staff, as much as Skylar Savage can't think about this, it is important for her to throw some significant innings here.
This one in on the handles. Tough play for Simon. Throw across the diamond, picked out of the dirt by Gamble. There's the first out of the day for North Texas, but A&M tacks on another run. The Aggies lead it 2-0. Nicely done by Simon. Thought maybe off the bat there was a chance at a double play. Thought differently and took the out instead. Runners at second and third with one down.
The fielders have to play good situational softball right now, and of course Savage will be heads up with that as well. But right now Savage has to focus on getting out of the inning. When you don't have any outs and the bases are loaded, it's not a naturally positive scenario. It's not one she wanted to come in into. So she just has to stay positive and get out of this inning. And then she has a fresh start next inning.
Nothing in 2 to start against Enright. Things looking positive for Savage against the junior. Transfer from Arizona, hitting from the right side. Trying to get her the chase, and Enright lays off. Enright, who has started in right field in all but one game that she's appeared in this season. Back in right field tonight for the Aggies. Currently working after 3 hits in the last 2 games of the weekend. This one at third. Runner caught in between. Home and third. Tag placed. Now turning around, looking. There's nobody covering first as Tatum Sparks will just hold on to it. There was an opportunity as you saw Enright take the big turnaround first and head to second. She was almost standing neck and neck at second base with Cottrell, but the runner is tagged out, and there are 2 down on the fielder's choice. Nicely done by the North Texas defense.
There's the ground ball and into the pickle. Well done by UNT to get the out. Kaylee Gamble not covering first, so no opportunity for a second, but still a well-executed pickle.
And that's tough from a base running standpoint. You have Jasmine Hill at third, and a lot of times you're taught to stay on the bag if it's hit to the left side of the infield and wait until it gets past the pitcher. It was hit hard off the bat of Enright, but Sparks was there, played it down the line, and you could see Tatum Sparks had the idea early that as soon as Hill committed to go home, there was the throw for out number 2. Now can Savage get out of the frame with only 2 runs across as this one's lifted in the air, left field, playable for Lex.
More home runs as she is also the walks leader in UNT history. It's a talented middle of the roster.
You got a pause in action even before Emily Levitt gets rolling. As we continue to take a look to the Texas A&M dugout. Now we're ready to roll. Levitt with only 20 earned runs on the season over her 47 innings pitched. Out of those 20 earned runs, 7 have come over the last 2 outings. So a chance now to maybe build that momentum, build that confidence against a stout lineup in North Texas that put up 25 runs combined yesterday against Texas A&M Commerce.
No doubt. Levitt and Childers both came in off short-lived appearances in their outing before. These midweek games are a good time to get some innings under your belt in games that are not counting for conference standings, not counting for conference standings, which translate to the conference tournament seeds.
Chopper sent to first, corralled. Here's Lexi Cobb, who swings and offers up the first pitch from Levitt. Levitt works with the screwball, changeup, drop, and rise. She's got that arm side screwball. That's her go-to pitch to get ahead of the count. Can also throw that changeup at any time as well. Very good with the change and the screw combo, and it keeps hitters off balance throughout the season. You would think even with that combo wouldn't be a high strikeout number. That's not necessarily the case. 50 strikeouts to go along with just 15 walks over her 47 innings. So the command and the production is both aplenty. A drop ball laid off by Cobb. Watched it all the way in order to do so.
Cobb has a good selection when it comes to her swing. She has 18 walks in the season, second on UNT's roster to only Kaylee Gamble.
Gamble now the program leader in walks after this past weekend. Earned walk number 105 in her career with North Texas. She'll bat 5th tonight. Payoff pitch to Lexi Cobb here in the early going. Drops in for strike 3. Strikeout number 51 on the season for Emily Levitt, and there's 2 down in the first.
Levitt's pitch to Cobb hangs in the zone. It looked like it was about to rise, and then it didn't. Stayed right in the strike zone.
That'll bring up Sierra Simon. Simon red hot in the middle of this North Texas order. She was a single shy of the cycle in Game 1 yesterday against Texas A&M Commerce. Normally you see it the other way around. You're either a triple or a homer shy of the cycle. Not the case. She was a single shy and had a career high 6 RBIs in a tremendous game against A&M Commerce. Now she's going up against Texas A&M. Period. That's it.
Simon is the only mean green batter to have 40 hits on the season. In this game, the only other person to cross that 40-hit barrier is Jasmine Hill from A&M. So those are talented hitters in the 3-hole.
Really shows the tremendous impact that Simon has had in this North Texas ball club throughout her career. Takes the 2-1 and absolutely drills it, but hooks it very much so foul.
Early on, it absolutely looks like UNT can hit Levitt. So putting together hits in a row or walks and hits combined, and the ability to manufacture runs with getting a leadoff base runner on, and there's Cobb about to beat out the bobbled ball by Levitt.
That was tough either way. The cue shot off the end of the bat. Sierra Simon puts it right in front of Levitt, but Levitt with the spin on the ball just never fielded it correctly. An interesting look at it. Let's see it again.
Levitt's pitch. Cobb has the contact a little low on the bat, so it dribbles to the circle. Levitt not able to make the play in the ball. A base runner is a base runner, and Cobb gets the smile out of it.
Puts a runner on for North Texas with 2 down, and now it allows Michaela Smith to come to the plate. Smith, one of the best power bats in this mean green lineup, has hit 6 of her 8 homers on the season since the start of conference play when they opened up American Conference action against East Carolina here. They did mark that as a hit for Sierra Simon, an infield single. It was a tough play with the spin on it as well, trying to make the throw over to first as Smith fouls this one back.
It was a hit that looked like a bunt, but when you're not showing bunt and the infield's not playing up, Levitt didn't have any help. So I guess that's a hit.
Good old swinging bunt. keep every defender on their toes. 1-2 here to Michaela Smith. And the changeup got her well out in front of it. Smith swinging in circles in North Texas tie hit game as she continues her hot streak. Then it continued into the evening with Skylar Savage spinning a complete game shutout. First time this season that North Texas has put up double-digit runs and shut out an opponent in the same game, and it's only the third time they've done that in program history. First time since 2022 that they've done it. So that shows just the dominance that North Texas put on the table yesterday against A&M Commerce.
That many hits and runs and highlights. Looks a lot like a batting practice for UNT. A lot of at-bats when you make it that many times around the batting order. So they've gotten to see some pitches already this week, and live pitches are always valuable because you get used to seeing your pitchers in practice and the way they throw the ball, and then getting some different pitches to hit, some different challenges from pitchers who have different strengths is important.
Get some reps as well from different players that don't see the lineup nearly as much. You can say the same here for Ayanna Coleman. Coleman, normally a pinch hitter in trait with Texas A&M. It's only her 7th start of the season. She works in to lead off the second inning for the Aggies. This one is fouled off. 2 of her 3 homers on the season have come in pinch hit situations, and both have been at home at the Davis Diamond.
Coleman a little aggressive on that pitch. She's leaning to swing, not a very on balance swing.
Yeah, out in front of it early against Savage. This one's ripped in the left, but right to Lexi Cobb for out number 1. Hit well, but Cobb was positioned perfectly. 1 down here in the top of the second.
Savage's pitch to Coleman, driven to left field. Lexi Cobb makes the play. She makes it look easy and didn't have to move much to make the play on the ball.
Coleman helped earning that start with the Aggies after starting in the finale against Alabama. She ended up notching a couple of RBIs in that matchup as well. Here's the 9-hole hitter, Kennedy Powell, which if you talk to Coach Tricia Ford about Powell, she is a second leadoff hitter. 307 average, the slap from the left side. She'll look to work a board here for the top of the lineup. Squares the bunt, and an opportunity right over the shoulder of Kaylee Christensen. Christensen can't handle it, and you can see the smile from Powell. She knows she got an extra chance.
Powell and Eshtay lead the Aggies in stolen bases on the season, both of them with 10. So this is the speed I mentioned at the bottom of the lineup. Powell has the ability to get on base and steal around to manufacture runs for the top of the lineup.
Sophomore transfer from UCLA, where she was Pac-12 all-freshman team honors last season. It's also all-region as well for the Bruins. Great program out there with UCLA, and now works to College Station. Perfectly placed bunt. Tough play for Christensen, and it's a bunt single for Kennedy Powell. 1 on for Texas A&M.
Powell did such a good job with the placement of that bunt. She gets it down right near the batter's box. Tough for the catcher to see as she's getting out of the way, and also tough for the catcher to get the angle on the throw to first. So very well placed, hardly inbounds bunt.
Well, whenever you can place it like that and it spins and just dies in the dirt there, it's so tough for anybody, especially with the speed of Powell, to even get close. It's part of why she is that second leadoff hitter. Mari Harper on for the second try. She worked in a battle against the starter Mackenzie Childers before earning the first of 4 straight walks. She'll square to bunt, and that one also fouled away. The bunt single from Powell, the first hit of the day for Texas A&M. Aggies benefited from those 4 straight walks, drove in 1 run there, and then a fielder's choice later in the inning helped scratch a second across. But really the damage could have been much worse in the first inning for North Texas if not for Skylar Savage coming in to save the day.
Savage did a really good job of getting out of that first inning. She did not load the bases, and she was able to get the Mean Green out with only 2 runs, still in the game. Now she's done a really nice job at the top, in the top of the second, keeping base runners out of scoring position, and has 1 out so far.
This one hit into center. Harper flies out to Nicholson. No chance to advance for Powell. 2 down. One of the more dangerous hitters in the Aggie lineup is retired. There's a look at Coach Ford in the dugout talking to her star leadoff hitter. Coach Ford with 465 wins overall, but just her second season with Texas A&M, and went to a regional last year, 35 wins on the campaign. They're close to matching that already in what has been a great start to the season for the Aggies. They'll have a weekend series coming up against Ole Miss down in College Station before a midweek matchup with Big 12 foe Houston. In the big one, final SEC series of the season for Texas A&M. They travel to Gainesville, take on the Florida Gators. Florida currently top 10 in the country, ranked number 9 in the most recent poll. But Texas A&M currently second in the SEC standings. They feel pretty confident how things have gone to this point. Runner goes, throw down from Christensen, got her on the run. They're going to say there was interference. Wow. Powell took off, didn't get the greatest jump, or at least it didn't appear so, but it might have been because of interference. Here's a look at it. I'm not sure where the interference takes advantage. The tag was placed well before Powell even got close to the bag. Maybe you can say that Medford was blocking the base paths, but I don't think that made it that much of a difference along the way. Stolen base attempt would have ended the inning as well. Eshtay fouls it off. The count moves to 2-2. Two drops low.
The top of this Aggie batting order saw a different pitcher in their first inning. So this is their first time seeing Savage, a different style than Childers, who started. So a fresh start for the batters as well as Savage on the inning.
Just outside, Christensen tried to frame it up. Second straight time that Eshtay has walked. It's the first walk issued by Savage.
The center fielder, number 77,
the 5th overall here in the first 2 innings. So here's Jasmine Hill. This is where things can get dangerous, and maybe Roddy DeLong becomes a bit more enraged after that call at second. As if Texas A&M can take advantage with 2 outs here in the middle of this order. This one catches the outside, 0-2. This Aggie lineup, who has blasted 50 home runs in 42 games, already passed their total of 47 in 56 games last year. Very powerful lineup, including Hill in the middle. The 0-2 from Savage. .84 degrees. Wind blowing out to right field at 11 miles an hour. This one back up the middle into center. Up and throwing is Nicholson. They'll catch a runner over at first and second, but no chance to get the 3rd out of the inning. And A&M comes through. An RBI single for Jasmine Hill. Her 36th run batted in.
Here's the hit the RBI that leads to the Aggies adding to their lead, which makes that throw down to second so much more costly and so much more of a story on the game, since UNT wasn't able to get out of the inning and get that third out before giving up another score to the Aggies.
That's what's so disappointing for at least for now, for North Texas, is you feel like you got out of the inning, did everything you needed to wipe that run off the board, and more importantly, there's a chance for more as Julia Cottrell steps in. Cottrell squares the bunt, fouls it away.
When you're playing against a team that's at the top of the SEC, the margin for error is just so small. So UNT has to make all of the plays that are makeable, essentially, because A&M can make you pay for that costly mistake at second on one swing.
Cottrell, one of just 3 Aggies on the roster who played over 200 career games. Just a mainstay for the Aggies. 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run scored in the victory against Alabama in Game 2 of that series. This one catches the outside corner for a strike. She walked in her first at-bat. That was the final hitter that Mackenzie Childers faced. Coming off of a 3 RBI weekend and a chance for more in the midweek. 1-2. In on the handle, but it'll drop in the alleyway. It scores 1 for Texas A&M. Here comes the runner from first, and 2 come across for the Aggies. 2 runs batted in for Julia Cottrell, and the Aggies lead at 5-0.
Savage's pitch driven between left and center field. Gets down between the outfielders, and the Aggies are running. Simon makes the connection after bobbling the ball, but overthrows home plate. Aggies score, and it makes that missed opportunity at second base even more costly.
No doubt. 3 runs. Almost everything here, and could be 4, and it will. This one sneaks under the glove of Simon. Tough play from the shortstop. She did get leather on it, but that was about it. Would have been a tough throw to nail Trinity Cannon. 4 runs in the inning for Texas A&M. They continue to take advantage.
There's Simon's play on the ball. Makes it past her glove, which was an attempt at backhand. Would have been hard to make the throw anyways, but still another run scored for the Aggies.
Give credit to these Texas A&M hitters, because as much as North Texas could have been out of the frame, and you can put an asterisk on those 4 runs, you don't. Those are 4 runs that count just the same as any other. They could have very easily, with 2 outs, just continued to see the next inning, and that's not necessarily the case. They've stepped up and had really good at-bats after the walk, and now 3 straight singles.
UNT is such a good fielding team typically, but as base runners get on base, and it makes the situational strategies tougher and the situational execution tougher, it puts pressure on the fielders, and they eventually can make a mistake.
This one driven well, deep into right field. Leaping is Rainey, and she can't grab it. Allie Enright goes opposite field for a 2-run bomb. Eight to nothing Aggies on the road.
The Aggies have done a good job taking advantage of UNT's pitching challenges early, putting together a 2-out rally, and really making the most of this inning. An inning where Savage has done a good job overall. There's the home run swing. She doesn't know it at first. She has quite the hustle to first base, but then she has the subtle jog the rest of the way.
Talked about it, 11 miles an hour wind going out to right field, and it certainly helped the case there as Enright hits her 10th homer of the year, becomes the second Aggie to hit double figures in the home run category. Also had a homer against Alabama on Sunday, following that up just 2 games later.
It was a shallow home run right into UNT's tailgaters. That is absolutely not the ball they wanted to get out there tonight.
No, not at all. I'm sure there are some Aggies out there as well. There's one truck with some maroon and white. Hard hit ball through the middle and into center for a base hit. Rylan Wiggins continues the hit party. Now 5 straight hits, including the 2-run blast from Enright against Skylar Savage, and the Aggies have batted around here in the second inning.
Savage has thrown 35 pitches already this inning. She threw 6 innings last night, and UNT will need her this weekend. So the defense has to help Savage get out of these innings and save arms on the UNT pitching staff.
Coleman offers up at a beautiful changeup from Savage. Coleman hit the ball well, but straight to Lexi Cobb into left. Got her again, same pitch, just a little bit outside. 8 runs on the board for this uber dangerous Aggie lineup. Some say it could be one of the best in the SEC, top to bottom and depth-wise. You've seen that mix in and out today. Chopper snagged by Savage. The underhand throw will end the inning. Lots of what-ifs in the second for Texas A&M as they've jumped back out 8-0, just as they did in that first meeting.
UNT can still have positives on the day by getting hits, as you mentioned, outdoing their hit total from the previous matchup, and by Skylar Savage just maintaining her great body language and her competitive demeanor on in the circle. So UNT has to get the last one out of their mind and keep fighting for this one.
That's the big thing, is this is a lineup that can put up runs. North Texas has scored 180 runs throughout the year, threatened with at least 1 runner on in the first inning, but that was really before things broke open. This is where you'll see the measurement of resilience for a team.
I haven't seen any indicators in covering UNT that would lead me to believe that they would do anything but keep taking each pitch with complete competitiveness and the desire to prove that they are at the same caliber as their in-state competitor.
By the way, all runs in that 6th inning end up as unearned runs along the way as Gamble offers up, comes up empty. So 6 runs across the inning off of 6 hits. 2 errors for North Texas helped those become unearned runs. Now Gamble hits this one well. Line drive into right field. It's off the wall. Unfortunately for Gamble, she hit it too much on the screws, and it leads to just a single.
Gamble's hit looks like what would have been a line drive, and it makes it all the way to deep in the outfield. Goes off the wall, but it's so hard hit, she doesn't have time to get to second base. That was a very solid single, well-hit ball by Kaylee Gamble to lead off the inning for Mean Green.
That's the crazy thing about Kaylee Gamble, is a lot of times she hasn't hit the ball well, or particularly well, because she's been pitched around so much in the American. There's a fielder's choice off the bat of Sparks. But the good thing for North Texas is she's been hitting the ball well lately.
So many pitchers don't pitch to Kaylee Gamble because of her stats in the home run category last season, in conference play, and in general. So the Aggies take the challenge, and she gets on base, but they're able to get the out and not allow UNT to advance the runner.
So now Sparks switches spots with Gamble. Molly Rainey will step in, one of the veterans on this North Texas ball club. Mean Green with upperclassmen up and down the order. Just one underclassman and Tatum Sparks, who's over at first right now. And then the only other non-seniors are Sierra Simon, a junior, Riley Nicholson, a junior. Rest of the lineup today, all seniors. Long way to go in this one, just the bottom of the second. Off the end of the bat, dribbler. Stepping on first is Cannon. She'll throw it to Wiggins at second, but there in time is Sparks. 2 down.
Rainey did a good job making contact to allow UNT to move the base runner into scoring position. That is, of course, a very important part of the ability to get on the scoreboard and to manufacture some runs.
First time a North Texas base runner has made it into scoring position. Had some trouble, at least in the finale against Florida Atlantic, driving in runs where they left a number stranded on base. Finished the day just 3 of 16 with runners on and 2 of 10 with runners in scoring position, but they did end up winning the game 4-1 thanks to a late 3-run homer from Kaylee Gamble. They then took advantage yesterday, though, in that doubleheader, putting up 25 runs. This one inside, swung on and missed by Christensen. Count moves to 1-2. Emily Levitt in the circle, unbothered to this point. It's Mean Green hitting. See if she can end the frame here. Christensen stays alive by fouling this one off in a tough drive from Cottrell. Cottrell slams into the railing on the left side of the Mean Green dugout. Thank goodness she's okay because she took a hit diving after this ball.
Cottrell making an impressive hustle to get over towards UNT's dugout. There you see the contact she makes on the outside. It's padded, but she makes pretty good contact with her head in the bounce back.
And she's able to get back up. That's the veteran with over 200 starts for the Aggies. She's not getting out of any of these games anytime soon.
The ability to make a play on the ball without fear over your body, hitting one of the barriers to the field is so impressive to me. She is worried about the out and not UNT's dugout.
Don't you need that in a catcher, though? That's the essence of playing the position. Same thing with having a nasty breaking ball as the NFL draft this time of year, one of the best sporting months of the season, or of the calendar, I should say, across the board. You've got basketball in the Final Four wrapping up to start April. You've got baseball, softball, MLB action all in full swing, the Masters, and then, of course, the NFL draft wraps it up at the end of April. Just to give everybody a little bit of hope, as this one's skied in the air deep in the right, and this one is caught right on the foul line. What a snag from Molly Rainey. If it was in fairground, she would have robbed a homer from Kennedy Powell. It would have been foul, but either way, it's out number 1.
Rainey with an unbelievable play on the ball. You can't see the ball from the booth, so I'm watching Rainey's body language tracking the ball. You're wondering, is it a home run? And then it's a foul ball, and then Rainey makes the play. What a hustle, getting far from where she started in right field.
You can even see the reaction there from Powell. She knew it too. What a grab from the veteran in right. Another one of those seniors for Ronnie DeLong, showing off the leather. Had a diving play in Game 3 against Florida Atlantic from Nicholson. She went full Superman, laid out to make the grab in right. Then you've got Molly Rainey now jumping and making a grab and foul ground. Back to the top of the order as Amari Harper steps in for her third at-bat. Excuse me. You got a pinch hitter already. Harper taken out for Price as Sav Price gets her first opportunity. Harper was 0 for 1 with a fly out and a walk. Price out of California, the transfer from Arizona State, and we talked about an opportunity to work in a lineup and work through a couple different hitters throughout. This is exactly the time to do it for Tricia Ford.
A&M has the opportunity to put some new faces in the lineup, get some at-bats of live action for people who haven't seen it already. Savage makes the play at first to Gamble. Trustworthy duo for Savage and Gamble. and UNT gets the second out of the inning.
Yeah, it's already the third time that Savage has had the fielder position
number 91,
against
Kramer
Aggie hitting.
Eschte.
Skylar Savage versus Sav Price. That was an elite name battle.
That's a great point. Sav versus Savage. Here's Eschte. Also a great name, Kramer Eschte. Walked in each of her first 2 plate appearances. Once against Childers and then once against Savage. North Texas looking for their first clean inning of the evening so far. Thanks to some great glove work from Molly Rainey, and then same thing in the circle from Savage.
I watched Eschte play club ball, and she is a batter that when she gets up, she thinks she's going to get the hit. She thinks she's going to get the game winner. That's a very special mentality if you're a softball or baseball player. There, an unbelievable grab.
2 out of 3 times this past weekend in Denton. Then you've got Texas A&M, currently second in the SEC. First pitch swinging. Riley Nicholson has this one gloved by Powell at third, and there's one down.
UNT's bats have gotten hot recently. Against FAU, they got the hits, and it didn't always translate to runs. They left some runners on base. And then in their doubleheader against Texas A&M Commerce yesterday, the hits really translated to the runs. Today and right now, the UNT batters have to focus on earning some runs against this talented A&M defense and taking that momentum in the batting lineup into their series this weekend.
Trying to take that momentum, too, back as the second time through the order. Talked about it. There's a long way to go here, especially if North Texas can scratch across a couple of runs. They are very much so capable of hitting for 8 or 9 runs in a game. It hasn't been their calling card this year, but it's something that could happen if they start rolling in that direction. Called strike on the long looper.
UNT has some grit. They won't give up on this, and putting together some runs is something to be proud of when you're playing a nationally ranked team. So that's worth the challenge and worth the commitment to that challenge.
And you've got a hitter like Morgan Medford at the top of the order here, too, that, like we talked about in the open, and like Coach DeLong told us earlier today, that she is the most competitive player that he has ever coached, baseball or softball. He's coached both sports. Said there's nobody that compares to what Medford has done, and she takes a strike here, but she's only been here for 1 year. For him to say that and for him to have that high a praise for a 1-year North Texas softball member is significant, because he's had great players in this program. Saying she's the most competitive is a huge compliment. She pokes this one into left. Tough play. Sliding on is Eschte for out number 2.
UNT is doing a good job of making contact on Levitt's pitches in this inning. That's the first step to being able to get some base runners on and manufacture those runs. It's a good play from the left fielder to get all the way in on that ball. A sliding catch on what could have been a hit against a lot of defensive teams.
Yeah, no doubt. It's actually Williams out in left field. Keely Williams entered as a defensive substitution just 2 batters ago. Eschte has now moved into center. Now those are the only defensive switches to this point for Texas A&M. But 2 down after the nice play from Keely Williams. Great job from the sophomore out of Converse Judson. 2 down for Lexi Cobb, who struck out looking in her first at-bat against Levitt. Levitt to this point, just 1 hit allowed. Only one base runner has actually made it into scoring position. Cobb, who had a double against Texas A&M in their first meeting back on March 6th, one of just 4 hits in the entire ball game from the Mean Green. She lofts this one here, playable at short by Wiggins, and the side is retired. And with a high seed going into that SEC tournament, these Aggies can make some noise.
The Aggies have absolutely done it to this point in the season. In the SEC, it's so competitive. There's the potential to drop a series playing the top all the way to the bottom. It's a very strong softball conference and one that's nearly represented in Oklahoma City every year. They have a contender and teams to watch as far as the national championship run.
And, of course, those powerful bats in the lineup and the depth certainly help the Aggies out. They've hit the transfer portal very well with Tricia Ford at the helm. They were picked to finish 8th in the preseason rankings out of 13 teams. Tennessee was tabbed to win it, so that's looking to be pretty accurate early on. It was Tennessee, Georgia, and LSU. Those were the 3 favorites in the SEC preseason poll, but then Texas A&M has emerged as a legitimate contender. Team knocking on the door of really making a run for 40 or 50 wins if things continue to go their way.
I grew up watching Beth Trina and the LSU softball team, and they inspired my respect for the game in a huge way. The entire SEC does a really good job of supporting their softball programs and proving how exciting it can be.
There's a base hit for Keely Williams, who entered as a defensive substitution in the last inning. Made a sliding play and left, and now works in for Jasmine Hill in the lineup as well. Puts a runner on for Julia Cottrell, who had a 2-run single in her last at-bat. And you think about the pedigree, and you mentioned it, some of those SEC teams and the way that they're always in Oklahoma City, how they've built some of these programs. Texas A&M wants to get there. They want to get to the point where they're a perennial powerhouse, and they're working to OKC every year, and they have a chance to play for a national championship, and currently ranked 12th in the media and coaches poll, and then you've got 8th in the RPI. They've done well to this point to help build that reputation.
When you get to the point of making Oklahoma City, you start to see pitchers that look like basketball post players, and the athleticism is just different.
This one's different as well. How about the power from Julia Cottrell? She sends it to straightaway center for a 2-run blast. It's now 10-0 Aggies.
Cottrell does a good job swinging hard, perfectly timed on Savage's pitch. When you drive it straight to the middle of the field, that's textbook timing on the ball. Savage's pitch is low in the zone, and Cottrell does a really good job of driving the ball up and out. A beautiful home run by the Aggie.
Looks like another day at the office for the veteran. She puts on the howdy hat and now works back into the first base dugout. After the home run celebration, second long ball allowed by Savage. The first one was to Allie Enright. This one to Cottrell, her 8th of the year. She now has 4 runs batted in today, up to 36 total on the season. This matchup looking much like the first between Texas A&M and North Texas. After a 12-0 run rule for A&M the first time around in College Station, they are having similar success on the road in Denton. And that's deflating as a team like North Texas, who has the expectations of winning conference championships, of being in the regionals year in and year out, and they have the pitching that they feel confident enough to do so. The fact that it hasn't worked out here and you get a second chance at a team that took you down like that the first time around, it's got to be frustrating, especially just a couple weeks ago after being in a tight 1-run battle against Oklahoma State here in Denton in front of another sold-out crowd.
A 2-run home run is a gut punch no matter what, and especially with no outs in the inning. Skylar Savage has been very respectable in her time, and there's another home run from the Aggies.
This
Savage
time
delivering the ball as she should, and Aggies are able to capitalize.
This time it's Trinity Cannon hitting that one straight off the center of the scoreboard, almost hit right on the Texas A&M logo. Back-to-back jacks for the Aggies, and they take an 11-0 advantage.
What do you do right now if you're Rodney DeLong?
You know, it's tough. I think now you're looking at it as you have a weekend series to go and win on the road against Memphis. Still an opportunity to stay up at the top of the conference and battle for a conference championship. Save the arms that you're going to need to get there. That's at least the way that I've walked along the way. And like we just talked about, this is an opportunity to maybe get some innings and good reps for North Texas against good hitting, including Allie Enright, who steps in fresh off of her 2-run homer to the opposite field, her last at-bat.
This is an opportunity for Smith to get college innings against the best of the best, for her to throw strikes and maintain her composure would be a win. She can't worry about strikeouts. You mentioned only 3. It's not likely to be getting those strikeouts against such a strong batting lineup, but she can throw strikes and provide her team with a real boost in the sense of throwing these pitches, getting through these innings, and maintaining their arms for this weekend.
Here's the thing about Smith as well. She's actually pitched well throughout the season. After her initial debut, it was against Missouri in a early season matchup. She allowed 5 runs on 5 hits over just 1 inning of work against the Missouri Tigers, another SEC opponent. Since then, she's only allowed 1 earned run in her last 4 appearances, including 3 appearances over the last 2 weeks. She came in for a game or an inning of work against UAB, inning of work against Florida Atlantic, and then another yesterday against Texas A&M Commerce. Allowed no runs on 2 hits. Does allow a hit here to Enright off of the glove of Medford at second, and she'll find her way on.
UNT only took 3 freshmen, and then they have 3 transfers. The 3 transfers are making a huge impact on their season in a very positive way. The 3 freshmen haven't gotten as much action, but that just tells you that there's only 3 of them, that Rodney DeLong believes in all 3 of those that he took, very much so. So you're seeing the future of UNT pitching and someone that this coaching staff has invested in, and they're investing every coaching opportunity they can week to week in bullpens, whether it's in-game or in practice.
Fly ball, playable for Rainey, who's there for the first out. That's the thing, in a situation like this, like you said, when you haven't pitched a ton, but you have had some success recently, now her 4th appearance in 2 weeks, you can keep rolling after the 2 homers back-to-back. You had the one from Cottrell and then another from Trinity Cannon in the next at-bat. Now you come in with relatively low expectations and low pressure. So you can just go in and do your thing and work from there, and that's exactly what it looks like North Texas wants to see from Smith.
It was a beautiful drop ball she just threw, and the college game is likely not going to slow down for her today against a nationally ranked opponent in her freshman year, but this outing can help the game slow down for her in the future. So this is a valuable opportunity, and one where Smith looks strong so far.
North Texas is going to have some tough sledding on the horizon. Only 3 more games at home at Lovelace Stadium following this one. It's a 3-game set, April 26th through the 28th against Wichita State. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. American Conference play, so this is the last non-conference home game of the year for the Mean Green. They will play a midweek against Oklahoma State next Wednesday. 6 p.m. start time against the Cowgirls. But other than that, it's on the road the rest of the time. 3-game series at Memphis, that midweek matchup against Oklahoma State. And then you've got a 3-game series at Charlotte as well that could very well be for conference seeding or even regular season title contention.
UNT can't let this one get to them for long. This has to be one of those that you just forget about and move on. That is part of sports. Anyone will tell you that.
Got a good battle going here between Coleman and Smith. Coleman 0 for 2. The only hitter still remaining in the Aggies order that has not found her way on tonight. Ground out and a fly out so far. Fouls that one away. North Texas looking to win 30 games in 4 straight seasons. Very well could have been 5 if not for the 2020 season being cut short after they won 2019. How about that on the backhand? Tatum Sparks with a nice play. Throw to first is in time. 5-4-3. Tatum Sparks with a phenomenal.
But I will be in on the NFL draft.
Okay.
So that promo was absolutely noted.
You're a big Dallas Cowboys fan as well.
I think this whole stadium can agree on that.
Maybe so, as Sierra Simon hits it well, but foul. I know our producer, Matthew Wilmarth, is a huge Cowboys fan, loves to cheer for the Cowboys and wear his navy and silver every single Sunday.
Kyle is hearing about that overhead set.
Sure
Apparently, we're missing one on the Cowboys fandom.
Matthew Wilmarth, a former producer with Texas A&M Athletics as well. Making his way to North Texas and Mean Green Productions, who do a phenomenal job providing ESPN coverage throughout the year. Not just softball, but across the athletics table in Denton. It's a great look at Emily Levitt. Levitt has been fantastic to this point, held under 50 pitches. She's held North Texas to just the 1 hit so far, and that was that was Kaylee Gamble's single in the 2nd inning. Sierra Simon was originally given a hit on her first at-bat, but it was later changed to an error E1. That's how she found her way aboard.
Levitt keeps looking at that, what looks like a watch on her wrist, on her non-throwing arm. It appears that she's getting the pitches from there.
Oh, yeah.
That could be the future of softball.
Oh, that's the now of softball for sure.
It's been done on football wristbands as far as them being digital, so natural for other sports to follow. Here's Levitt's pitch to Simon on the outside corner. Simon doesn't want it. Umpire calls strike.
Yeah, that one was a tough take from Simon. Didn't look like a great pitch, but Levitt does paint the black. 4th strikeout of the day for Emily Levitt. Continues to deal, now up against Michaela Smith. Smith was the 2nd strikeout victim. (1-0). That one will work fair down the left field line. 2nd hit of the day for North Texas. Puts a runner on for the red-hot Kaylee Gamble. $596 in attendance for this one. 6th most all-time for Lovelace Stadium in North Texas softball. Just barely missing the 600 mark. Of course, we mentioned that Oklahoma State matchup. Then the number 7 Cowgirls working in on April 3rd. There were 627 in attendance for that one. That was the 3rd highest attended game in Lovelace Stadium history. But the Aggies' first trip doesn't disappoint either.
This is softball country all over the state of Texas and Oklahoma, where Oklahoma State is. These are people who value softball and baseball. It's a great night. Finally getting hot in the state of Texas. It feels like softball weather.
Oh, yeah. 84 degrees and a little bit of humidity scattered throughout. It's perfect. This time is called behind the dish. Kaylee Gamble, who singled in her first at-bat, had 2 homers and 4 RBIs in Game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday, and also had a 3-run homer in the finale against FAU. So at least in back-to-back game days, Gamble has homered. Now up to 7 blasts on the year. Maybe not back-to-back games, though, because of Game 2 of yesterday's doubleheader. She did not leave the yard. 2-1. Hits this one well into center. Ranging back is Eshte. She's there to retire Gamble for out number 2.
Gamble seemed to question that swing a little bit. It didn't seem like a full force swing from her. So I'm not sure where she questioned, but unbelievable contact for how hard it looked like she swung for it to go that far.
Shows the power for Gamble. Mean Green just looking to chip away at this point. Put a couple runs on the board. Right now, combined with their first meeting with Texas A&M, they're being outscored 23-0 after a 12-0 shutout against the Aggies back on March 6th. Runner at first is Michaela Smith. Smith has not stolen a base this season.
Levitt does such a good job of hitting her pitches as far as ball placement on the plate. She very rarely swings it or hangs it over the middle of the plate. She's really good at hitting the inside corner and the outside corner, but the margin for error there is not very big. It is not a big plate we're talking about, so the ability to not miss an inside pitch right over the plate or miss an outside pitch right over the plate is a really impressive and underrated skill, and Levitt does it really well.
Just keeps these hitters off balance, and that's what it looks like. And you talked about the concerning and the not so confident swing of Kaylee Gamble in that last at bat. That's the byproduct of that, of having hesitation, of having to think while you're at the plate. That's exactly what makes Levitt so successful. She does miss inside here to the sophomore Sparks. This is the first time all game that North Texas has had more than one runner on base at a time. Have to think North Texas is thinking about putting up a run here. They have to come through at some point, trying to break the scoreless streak against A&M. Maybe try and push this one past 5 innings of work as well. Good take from Rainey.
It was a rare high pitch from Levitt. You don't see her hang the ball up in the zone, which is another lesson that throwing in the SEC will teach you. You're better off to miss an outside pitch far outside and walk someone than you are to hang up a good one in the middle of the zone, because good hitters can take advantage of that every single time. So you really only see Levitt high in the zone when she's throwing a rise ball, and then the movement on the ball is what she's counting on.
You can't leave a pitch up like that every time, especially in the SEC when you're going up against some of those bats. You do not want to leave anything up in the zone, and Levitt doesn't do so much. Part of why she has that sub-3 ERA to her total. Molly Rainey hits it straightaway center. Be on top of the American by the end of the week.
UNT controls their own destiny, and that is a fun feeling late in the season. They have the ability to earn the double bye in the American Conference Tournament, which is a huge swing from having to play 4 games to win the tournament to having to play 2. So these are huge series coming up for the Mean Green.
Second inning of work for Kaylee Smith. She could be a key contributor out of the bullpen for UNT. She'll face against Paige Lott, the pinch hitter here for Texas A&M. Working in for Kennedy Powell. Hits it hard off the leg of Simon and into center field. Simon could not handle it on a hard hit ball. We'll see what they rule that one, a hit or an error.
This is a rare missed opportunity in the field for Simon. She does such a great job of getting the ball in her glove, whether she can make the throw or not. There, it deflects off.
That one's a tough one to call either way, because it did take that hop right up on the left-hand side, and Simon had plenty of time to make the throw over to first, but couldn't adjust to the hop. That's what ended up eating her up on that one. Fly ball on the left. There's Cobb. Full-fledged substitutions across the board now here for Texas A&M and Trisha Ford. Price had her second at bat, flies into left, and now you have Kylie Griffin working in, the Tyler, Texas native, and another transfer from Louisiana. It's actually teammates with Eshte, who she pinch hits for here. Both Louisiana transfers. Of course, Texas A&M would love to tack on a couple extra runs here. Try and push this out of reach as the run rule is in effect going into that 5th inning. Could be the second straight run rule victory for Texas A&M over North Texas.
Smith is doing a really good job throwing strikes, though. She's throwing to great batters, but she's doing a good job of getting outs with her fielders.
Starting ahead of the count, too. Just like this to Griffin. Chopper to third. Sparks looks for it again. 5, 4, 3. Back-to-back innings where Tatum Sparks has sparked a double. And then also snag win number 34 on the campaign. First pitch is a called strike to begin the at-bat against Kaylee Christensen. And Christensen singles into right. Had 3 RBIs in game 2 of last night's doubleheader. How much do you feel like that plays a factor, Smacker, whenever it comes into playing multiple games in multiple days? In order to win in the postseason, you're going to need that possibility just in case you're in a double elimination scenario. But 2 games yesterday, total of 10 innings because of the combined run rule. Then you make a trip back to Denton from Commerce to now play against Texas A&M, a top 12 team in the country. How tough is that on a program?
I think so much of these games and the toll it takes on your body late in the season is how you frame it mentally. If you frame it as something that you have to do or something you get to do. So it's true that there is absolutely fatigue and tiredness and the desire to get some rest, but especially just considering sleep if it's a late trip in. But when it comes down to this time, every team is feeling that fatigue. So it's about which teams can handle the fatigue emotionally.
That's the thing that all teams are going to have to go through at some point, but some handle it better than others. You have to think about the frustration early from North Texas, too. That very well played a factor, especially with that 6-run second inning for Texas A&M where the bats came alive. It could have been 2-0 going into the third instead of a 10-0 deficit.
Exactly. You talked about the play in the field, but also for the pitchers. UNT has a small pitching staff, so each pitcher going some time in the game was important. Smith has done a good job stepping up for the Mean Green to allow them to preserve some arms going into this weekend. And the batters have done a good job of staying alive this inning and fighting.
That has been big. A single up the middle. This one ricochets off of Perez. Back-to-back singles from Christensen and Nicholson. And McGraman now running for Christensen. She's at second. 2 on for the top of the lineup as Morgan Medford steps in. North Texas needs 4 runs to extend the ball game past the 5th inning. And they could do that. You can put 4 runs on the board pretty easily. Even one swing of the bat could do so.
Especially with Medford at the plate.
She could get 3 of them back. Hasn't homered as a member of North Texas yet. Not really her game, but transfer from Texas State has showed that can't really count her out in any capacity. Transfer from Tarleton State, rather. She does take a strike here. 0 for 2 so far with a ground down and a fly out. One, two. Stays alive, but lines it into the third base dugout. Watch out. Medford reaching on 8 of 12 plate appearances in that series against Florida Atlantic. 1-2, chopper, tough play, bobbled initially. Perez throws to first just in time to get Medford. Both runners advance. It almost works as a sacrifice with a couple in scoring position.
Medford does a good job of making contact on the ball. She's slapping. She's already on the base path to first as Perez is bobbling the ball. Perez makes a good play and a hard throw to first to get the out, but Medford does her job getting Mean Green base runners into scoring position.
Puts a couple on here for Lexi Cobb. Cobb also 0 for 2, along with much of the North Texas lineup. Strikeout looking in the first and a pop out to short in the third inning. 1-0, drops in for a strike. Cobb, who ranks top 10 in North Texas history for career doubles. Two-time Conference USA tournament selection before North Texas made the jump from CUSA into the American. An emphatic member of this Mean Green lineup and has been throughout her career. 2-1 fouled off. What do you want to see here from North Texas in this possibly final at bat?
Just offensive fight. They've made some good plays in the outfield, the snag at the fence, some double plays. Overall, a defensive highlight game for them at times, and offensively not so much. So getting something going here would be huge.
Swing and a miss puts North Texas down to their final out. Sierra Simon now steps in as the last chance for North Texas to score a run against A&M this season. At least in the regular season. It's not out of the question these two can meet in postseason play, and they will score a run. It'll be unearned, as will every run from here on out, as Wiggins can't handle the slow chopper. And Simon is on. The game continues, at least for one more batter.
Here's the bat from Simon. Wiggins doesn't make the field play. No throw attempt at first.
Second error of the game for Texas A&M. Both have come while Simon has been at the plate.
UNT did a good job of putting pressure on A&M's fielders to make that error.
Put the ball in play, force a defense to make plays. Can Smith continue this one with North Texas and their backs against the wall? If you talk about it, North Texas wins the American. They go to the NCAA regionals for the second time in 3 seasons. It's not out of the question Texas A&M hosts a regional, and with them being within decent earshot of each other, you could see these two meeting again down the line. But right now it's been all Texas A&M, and a chance to close it out against the Mean Green on the road, looking for a run rule victory at Lovelace Stadium. Perez readies, rocks and fires. Swung on and missed, strike 3, and Texas A&M wins their first ever trip